Okay.
Okay, we are here with Christy Whitman. And every time I say it, Christy, show that beautiful book, Quantum Success. So excited for you. Yes, yes. And today we're going to talk about the 7 keys. So fasten your seatbelts. We're going to learn and grow together. Hey, Christy, it's time to the music. It's time to get your calisthenics. Come on, let's do the head bob. Do the head bob. There you go. Get moving this morning. It's all about movement, right? And what direction do we want to move in?
Love it.
Come on, you can't stop.
It's groovy.
Yeah. I've had people do the chop.
The sprinkler.
Oh, yeah. There you go. What's your favorite? Mine's the fishing. That's how I fish all my nieces and nephews. What's your move?
I don't have a move. My ex-husband used to do the shopping cart where you pretend to be shopping.
You can always turn to with your friend, the Lillian McDermott Show. To reach out to Lillian, visit her on the web at whenyouneedafriend.com. Now let's all learn together. Here's Lillian McDermott.
Hello, my listening friend. It's so nice we can meet each other on the air on this beautiful, best day ever. And if you've been listening to the show for the last 7 years or just tuned in yesterday, then thank you. Welcome back. But if this is your first time listening to the show, I've been waiting for you. And please know that this is a safe place where you can go to when you need a friend. It is my commitment to provide alternative ways to heal, and it is my mission to make awareness, responsibility, and truth a part of our everyday life. And I hope you, my listening, as well as my viewing friends, will feel empowered to embrace a new truth and live the life of your dreams. Now, today, you're going to want to put this number down into your phone because the 5th caller or texter at 407-373-5959. That's 407-373-5959 because we have the author of the book called Quantum Success. It's the 7 essential laws for thriving, joyful, and prosperous relationships with work and money. And all of us want to figure out work and money and how to be prosperous, but there is a law. There is a law out there. And one of the leaders in the thought process of the thought movement is Christy Whitman. And she is a life coach or coach for the law of attraction. She's a certified teacher. She teaches others how to focus on the law of attraction and become your own coach. So today we're going to talk about Quantum Success, which is her latest book. And it's the 7 essential laws for thriving, joyful, and prosperous relationships with work and money. You know, we always talk about mind, body, spirit, but part of this part of who you are is money. And so let's see if for those of you who are thinking about lack and there's not enough, we're going to learn a new truth today. And since it is our sole purpose in life to give and receive love and knowledge, I am grateful that Christy Whitman is here to do just that. Welcome, Christy, to the Lillian McDermott Radio Show.
Thank you so much for having me, Lillian. And thank you for listening or watching. I appreciate being here.
Yes. And I know that I can go on and on and on and on about your credentials, but what I want my listening friend to know, my viewing friend to know is, what is it about you? What got you into this, your journey? What got you into this positive law of attraction thinking?
Pain and suffering.
Amen. Amen. Go ahead. Keep going.
Tired of the way my life was. And I felt like I checked the box. You know, we all have those things that we're told, or, even projection of what society says. If you have this, right? If you have the body, if you have your health, if you have money, if you have a career, you have all those things, then you're going to be successful and then you'll be happy, right? Yes. And so I found myself living in Chicago, in one of the greatest cities. I had a really great paying job, and I was a representative for one of the largest wine companies, and I had 5 states, and I got to basically eat and drink my way through Chicago, and lived with my best friend in a brownstone in Wrigleyville, and had money in the bank, and just had all this success, but I felt so unfulfilled. Mm-hmm. And I was really seeking, because I'm like, is that it? Because like I'm in my early 20s, I check the box on everything, and I'm like, I'm just not happy. And I kept, the one area of my life, I kept attracting the wrong kind of men, you know? And so I really went seeking. And when I went seeking, I landed myself in Northern California, and I ended up meeting a woman who said something to me that literally changed my life. Now, this, you got to remember, this is like 22 years ago. And this information, I'm probably going to say, people are like, oh, I've heard that 1,000 million times. Right.
Yeah.
But back then, she said to me, your thoughts create your reality. And when she said it to me, I went, I know that. Like there was something inside of me that just knew that instinctually, but I'd never heard that before. And when I started paying attention to what my thoughts were, I was like, oh, I'm in trouble. Because I was judgmental and critical and just really unhappy. And so one by one, I started learning about what are these thoughts that are negative and what are these thoughts that are positive, and how do I shift them? And, you know, what are the beliefs that I have? And I really, what came down to it, and what my life work has really been about now, is that most of us, at least like myself and people I know and people I was raised with, think in lack and limitation and scarcity.
Yes.
And every time we shift, every time I shifted a thought that was in lack to something that was a possibility, potentiality, abundance, my life would change. Like my outer reality would completely change based on that shift. So I just got so like fascinated with how my outer changed as a result of what was happening inside and what I was doing. So that's how it started for me.
That's amazing. And, you know, and it's when the student is ready, the teacher appears. You probably heard that a bajillion times, but that was the moment you were ready to hear it. And I always say this with my listeners, my viewers, if it doesn't make sense, move on. Eventually it will make sense, and that's when it's perfect. Be the fifth caller or texter, 407-373-5959 for the book Quantum Success when we return with Christy Whitman worldwide at whenyouneedafriend.com. We'll be right here waiting for you. Isn't that the truth? That's the have do be.
It's so true.
Have do be. Mm-hmm. So share a little bit about have do be.
Well, you know, there's different aspects to that, right? So we think that if I get something, then I'm going to feel something. And it's really about, what am I being right now? If I'm being the energy that I want to attract, you know, then from that place, we get to do, we get to, you know, we get to have. Mm-hmm. When we're being it, when we're owning the energy of it right here, right now, we're having it.
Yeah.
I wrote about that in Quantum Success. It's the difference between like really wanting something and having it. Mm-hmm. And we can have the essence of what we want. It's not like we have to go get something in order to feel a certain way, and then you get the thing.
Yes.
Right? You're a vibrational match for it. And that's what's exciting, is that I tell people all the time, nothing in your outer reality has to change in order for you to feel the way you want to feel. Because mm-hmm. we're so conditioned to, well, if I go make more money, then I'm going to feel this way. If I finally get the guy, then I'm going to feel happier. I'm going to feel secure. I'm going to feel connected, whatever that thing is. But we project how we're going to feel onto the things that we want, and instead of just feeling it in the now. And that's the attractive point too. It's like everything's vibrational.
That's right. That's right. And, you know, we talk about the standard American diet, which is, you know, just lack. You know, Dr. Joel Fuhrman, I was talking to you about him before the show. He says that, you know, Al-Qaeda couldn't have designed the standard American diet to kill us. And that's the thought process. So let's call it the standard American thought process, which is, instead of be, do, have, it's have, do, be. And that is the shift that I'm trying to create with the word responsibility, where people think responsible means lack or blame or shame or fault or duty. And I want it to be about empowerment and freedom. And that's what you're talking about in the book, you know, Quantum Success, is that freedom of that, you know, I can do all things. I'm the creator. So when we come back from the break, I would love to talk about, and here we go. So just know these things. Yes, that's a little bit.
Like country.
Yeah, there you go.
You can text Lillian McDermott or leave her a voicemail at 407-373-5959. Once again, here's Lillian.
Welcome back to the Lillian McDermott Radio Show, where we always learn and grow together. Today's teacher is Christy Whitman, and the book that we're giving away to the fifth caller or texter is called Quantum Success, and it's 7 Laws for Thriving, Joyful, and Prosperous Relationships with Work and Money. Oh yeah, I said it, relationship with money and work. What is your relationship with money? You want this book? You want to learn and grow? Okay, so actually, you know what? I say the fifth caller or texter will get the free copy of the book, 407-373-5959. But everybody today that wants a free copy of this book, they have to pay for shipping. And you can go to quantumsuccessbook.com and you can get a free copy. But the fifth caller or texter doesn't have to pay the shipping. You get to work a little bit more for this one. Okay, so a little bit about Christy. Share a little bit about your background and all the things that you've been able to accomplish with this mentality. From that person, that 21-year-old or that early 20-year-old that heard those words that said, you are the creator. Basically, you create it with your thoughts, what you want. Your thoughts create this. Where are you today? So let's talk about all the things you've done as far as New York Times bestselling author. Go ahead and just blow us away with your credentials.
Yeah, so I think the biggest accomplishment, and I have to say that, is the kind of relationships that I have. So first of all, I have the most amazing husband, and he is just the nicest, kindest person. And like I said, I used to just date the bad guys, like the guys that were emotionally unavailable, drugs and alcohol, because that's what I thought I deserved. And that's what my set point was. And so, guys that cheated, those kind of things. And now I have just this amazing relationship, committed. We've been married 10 years, going 11 years, together 12 years, 2 beautiful children. Just a conscious guy. Our marriage is not perfect, but we're always working on it together. He's always working on growth. So that is like my biggest thing. And then to even extend beyond that, it's like the circle of people that I have in my life. Just positive, really seeking people that get the bigger picture of life. And these are just the things, but of course, lots of money in the bank and accomplishments like 2 books hitting the New York Times bestseller list, multi-million-dollar company. I could go on and on with the accomplishments and things like that. When I was in corporate America, by applying this information that I now talk about and that I wrote about in Quantum Success, I was hitting like the top of the, sales leaderboards and getting all sorts of bonuses. And so, it constantly is showing me that it works as long as I work it, as long as I'm having resistance on something and I am willing to release the resistance. And in working with those laws, then everything opens up for me.
Yes, absolutely. And that is what people don't understand. People think, oh, well, the deserving factor, I don't deserve this, but they don't say it. We don't say it. It is ingrained in us from the moment we feel that we're not enough. So let's talk about the shift that you call the law of attraction, that you have created your career now to helping others achieve what they want. And by the way, the fifth caller or texter, 407-373-5959, will get a free copy of the book Quantum Success. She's ready for me. And by the way, go to whenyouneedafriend.com to watch the on and off the air conversations, because that's where we really get to the nitty gritty at times. Okay, so with that in mind, let's talk about this law of attraction, because many people are it's like I'm a realist is what I hear all the time. I'm a realist. And so why can't we be a realist with abundance as opposed to a realist with lack, which is where that we keep going. So let's talk about this abundance, this realism of abundance in our life with the law of attraction.
Well, one of the laws is the law of sufficiency and abundance. And I definitely want to talk about that because, the reality is the way our universe is birthed, what we have in our universe is abundance. But most people are experiencing an abundance of lack. instead of an abundance of abundance. So everybody's experiencing abundance in something. So, when we can understand that law, but the law of attraction, it's funny. It's a law that's happening all the time. It's like gravity. We don't have to think about it. It's not like I'm having to think about gravity in order to keep myself in this chair, or else I'm going to fly off into outer space. I mean, it's happening. It's working, whether I'm thinking about it or not, whether you're thinking about it or not. It's working all the time. Doesn't matter if we're male, female, where we live. It's always happening. And so it's a vibrational universe that we live in, and everything is energy. We now know that from quantum physics, from modern science, right? So it doesn't matter if it's a cell phone, a desk, or the human being. We all are energy. We're all at the bottom line of everything. We're atoms and molecules and space between those atoms and molecules. So everything is energy, and that includes what we say, what we do, our thoughts that we think, the beliefs that we have, the perspectives that we hold, our feelings that we have. It's all like an ignition of energy that goes out. We understand how energy is generated outside of ourselves, but we're generating energy inside of ourselves that goes out and then is matched by law of attraction to other circumstances, situations, people, events, everything. It governs our whole entire universe. And so it makes sense that if we don't like what we're seeing in our world, whether it's our relationships with money, people, career, that's the cool thing, we get to change it. We're not a victim to circumstance. It's not like, I remember the movie Bruce Almighty, where it's like he felt like a victim, like, God's picking on me kind of thing. No, we actually get to affect, and that's the second law, is the law of deliberate creation. We get to choose where we want to focus our attention, how we want to feel, what we want to think, what we're going to say, and when we do that, our outer reality completely shifts.
Okay, so that's all well and good. And I believe everything that you're saying. But at the moment that we're experiencing that crisis, at that moment where we fall back on what we have been taught, we see it in our parents, we see it in their parents before them. This is ingrained in us. It's passed on to our epigenetics, so to speak. We think it's part of our epigenetics, but the fact is, epigenetics is all about the thought process of our genes. And so when we're going through the trauma, or we're going through the drama, or we're going through the lack of thought, the thoughts of lack, how do you shift? Because it's called the law of attraction without action is what? Just a dream. And so let's talk about that action and how we actually literally shift our focus from the lack to the abundance.
So one of the laws I talk about in quantum success is the law of polarity. So if we are feeling lack, if we're having a thought that there's just not enough money, in this universe that we live, there's the polar opposite of that truth, that there's plenty of money. So it's our job to, again, applying the law of deliberate creation. How do I want to feel? How do I want to, how do I want to be? What do I want to do? All that stuff. So I always say when contrast shows up, that's anything from what we don't want, from someone being rude to us to the most traumatic, dramatic event we can think of. All of that is under the category of what we don't want. It's usually rooted in lack. If we are feeling bad, we are in lack. If we're feeling good, we're in abundance. And abundance and, possibilities is what feels good to an unlimited being, which is who all of us are. So lack and limitation always feels horrible. So when you see yourself in contrast of any kind, ask yourself 3 questions. First one is, what do I want? Because as soon as you get off the problem, Einstein said it best, right? It's like you cannot have the same mind, that you can't find the solution with the same mind that created the problem. Whether we like it or not, whether we know it or not, our best thinking got us into the contrast, right? And so we have to get off of that energy and focus on a different energy. So what do you want? Just asking yourself that question. We walk around all day long going, oh, I don't want this. I don't want to gain weight. I don't want to be late. Exactly. So we're so accustomed to focus on what we don't want that lo and behold, we keep getting what we don't want. So we have to have a different question that we're asking ourselves. What do I want? And then the next question is, well, why do I want that? Because we think, well, I want the guy, I want more money, I want a better career success. We think we want these things because we're going to feel a certain way. And if we could really ask ourselves, why, what's the motivation? Why do I want these things? We get to know ourselves, but we'll find out, maybe it's really not the money we want. Maybe we want more time freedom. You know, so what do I want? Why do I want it? And ultimately, how do I want to feel? Because we have all, like you were saying earlier, you know, we're all so outside in, and I talk about that in Quantum Success, that it's really an inside out approach instead of an outside in. So when you can understand, I want to feel free, I want to feel successful, I want to feel love, I want to feel joy, I want to feel abundant. When we start to bring in those feelings, all things like it attract to ourselves, and we're not having to go run after and push and struggle and strive to get those things. We still have to take action, but it's a more elegant road to get there.
Sure. And that is, I wrote an article, I write for Florida Today, and I wrote an article, that it's not about being Santa Claus. God is not Santa Claus. And so because I heard a preacher saying, all you have to do is think it. If you want something, God will provide it. All you have to do is think it. If you want a car, you just think about the car and pray for the car, and then the car will show up in your driveway. And I thought, that's nonsense. And that is the problem that we have gotten ourselves into, thinking if I just think it. But we're going beyond that. It's the action that is going to be crucial. And yes. So during the break, we were talking about the mentalities. If I have this, I have to do this to be this. And so what you're saying is the opposite. What you're saying is that we feel it. We feel what we want. We focus on what we want, and we do what we want.
Yes. One of the laws, law of polarity, we are both physical and metaphysical. And one of the concepts I talk about in Quantum Success is that it's all about alignment. Yes. And momentum. So, most people are doing the momentum. They're taking the action, striving, driving, and they're not getting anywhere. They feel like they've hit the ceiling, right?
Yeah.
Because they're not aligned. And so for those people, alignment is what's important. That's really the key that's going to help them get past the limitations that they're feeling on their success. Mm-hmm. Other people, they could feel like Zen and groovy all day long, but if they're not taking any action, they're also not going to get anywhere.
Yes.
It's the combination of both. We have to be aligned with what our vision is, what our goals are, that we believe we can have them, that the thoughts that we think, what we say, what we do, everything, all that alignment, and then take the action steps towards the things that we desire. So it's so true. I mean, you can't sit around and go, ooh, I want a new car, and think about it all day long.
Yeah.
I mean, we actually have to do things in this physical world to be able to get that car or whatever it is.
Yeah, I call that entitlement. See, that mentality is an entitlement mentality, that if I want it and I just think that and I do not even get out of my house to achieve it, then that's called entitlement. Mm-hmm. I think somebody else, give me whatever it is that I deserve. And that's got to become internal, where I say, I deserve it, but I'm also going to earn it because I believe I can create this. There's a difference and a shift that we've got to be aware of. And for those of you who would like a copy of this book, you can go to quantumsuccessbook.com and get a copy of the book, but you pay for the shipping handling. But if you want to save the shipping and handling, be the fifth caller or texter, 407-373-5959. That's 407-373-5959, and you'll get a free copy of this book. Caller or texter, Quantum Success. We're going to continue our conversation with Christy when we return worldwide at whenyounneedafriend.com. We'll be right here waiting for you. That was a mouthful. Okay, so that's the one thing with the law of attraction. Like, for example, and I'm just going to say it, the movie The Secret. I loved the idea, and I read the book, The Secret, and I love, and by the way,
Rhonda Byrne?
No.
Lisa Nichols?
The book, Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill. It takes me a while. Sometimes I need to download it. Or Think and Grow Rich, that book is all about the law of attraction.
Yes.
If you think about it, interviewing millionaires for 20 years and getting, this is the secret. This is the secret. But when I saw the movie, the documentary, The Secret, it left me feeling that it was all about money. And when I talk about that we are the creators, and all the stuff that we promote on, that I promote on the show, I always say that it's more than just money, because what good is it to have money if you don't feel happy, if you don't feel, satisfied, if you're not healthy? There's an Indian proverb that says that, a healthy person has 1,000 dreams, but a sick person only has one. Mm-hmm. So that shift that people get stuck in, I want, amen. So let's talk about getting out of that shift. How did you get out of that shift? I know you have the questions, but there's got to be that commitment to the commitment.
Absolutely.
So let's talk about that commitment to the commitment.
Well, let me just say this, because you brought up the secret, and I'm glad you did, because I think it was such a great introductory movie for so many people. It was such an opening. But what we have to understand about that movie, that book, it was an opening. It's not the end all be all. It's kind of like going to preschool. Right. And there's if you want to go and get a master's degree, there's so much more to learn. That's why I wrote about the 7 essential laws. I mean, the secret talked about one law and literally scratched the surface on it. And so it's interesting people's perspectives on it, because there's only so much you can do in a movie. Right. And it's up to us that are seeking what more.
What else is out there?
Yeah. And when you learn about how all 7 laws work together, that's what really makes it magical, because the biggest law, the most powerful law that pulls all of them together for me, and all of them are important, and I'm always thinking and using them all in different ways, is the law of sufficiency and abundance. So we've been talking about that. Yes. It's finding when you're going throughout your day and you all of a sudden notice you're feeling bad about something, ask yourself, what thought am I thinking?
That's right.
That's evoking this feeling.
Yes.
Because if you find the thought, a belief is just a thought that's thought over and over and over again. And then we found evidence of it because we've been thinking it. And it's like, see, it's true. You were talking about, I'm a realist. My best girlfriend, you talk about the universal laws. I'm a realist. I'm like, well, if you keep looking at what is, that's what's already manifested.
Correct.
And if you look beyond it at what do you want? How do you want to feel? What you want to experience? What is having it all for you in all aspects of your life?
That vision is so crucial.
It is. It pulls you forth. It allows you to align and be, like the life force in you is evoked in a different way when you're asking, how do I avoid this? How do I avoid more of this versus, how do I open up to this?
Yes. There's so many people leave situations because they want to get out of the situation, and then they find themselves in the same situation. And I always say to them, are you leaving or are you going towards?
Yes.
Because it doesn't make sense to me that you're going to leave this just to go to the same thing over and over and over again. Stop the madness. I love your book, and I'm excited that we're getting to dissect it, because I although career finance education, we get to focus just on that today. Okay, here we go. Now, this is where I talk about my show and ways to get a hold of me, and then I'll reintroduce.
You can text Lillian McDermott or leave her a voicemail at 407-373-5959. Once again, here's Lillian.
Welcome back to the Lillian McDermott Radio Show, where we always learn and grow together. You can hear us worldwide at whenyouneedafriend.com. And it is so important to me that we learn from each other and go through life with childlike wonder. The person in front of you knows something you don't know. Figure out what it is. Figure out what it is that it made that person's success. Find the things that you love about that person. Be curious about how did they create it, and learn this new truth. This is what we talk about on the show. How can I create and live the life of my dreams? And that's why I want to encourage you to go to whenyouneedafriend.com, become a subscriber. And while you're there, please click on to all my social media, follow me there, and then subscribe at whenyouneedafriend.com. And by the way, I do have a YouTube channel because I'm so grateful for all the subscribers that have come on. Now I have YouTube.com, Lillian McDermott Radio Show. That's a / Lillian McDermott Radio Show. So when you subscribe there, both the audio and the visual, the YouTube video can be sent to you. So if you want to see it or if you want to hear it, there are two different shows. The shows on Facebook or YouTube are during the break, we do have these deeper conversations. So I want to encourage you to go to whenyouneedafriend.com. You'll get all sorts of abundant free things when you go there. But the one thing I do ask while you're there is to please check out my sponsors. Without my sponsors, the show could not happen. So check out my sponsors and figure out ways that you can support them the way they're supporting the show. Now, keeping in mind that this show is all about, if you take one word about this show, it's responsibility. But the kind of responsibility I talk about leads to empowerment and freedom. Imagine taking ownership of your life and seeing everything in your life that you created as something you can uncreate to create what you want. And that's what we're talking about today with Christy Whitman. I want to encourage you to go to my podcast or to, you can call us here at 407-373-5959. That's 407-373-5959. The fifth caller or texter gets the free book, Quantum Success. There it is. And it is the 7 essential laws thriving, joyful, prosperous relationship with work and money. You know, we talk about mind, body, spirit. And when I coach somebody, I coach them on 4 different parts of your life, the different things that creates who you are. But one of those quadrants is money. And many of us are really, really good at it, but haven't figured out the other stuff. But today, we're not going to talk about the other stuff. Although it is what you bring to work and how you manage your money is pretty much how you manage everything else in life. So today we are talking about the 7 essential laws for thriving, joyful, and prosperous relationship with work and money with Christy Whitman. Thank you so much, Christy, for sharing the book today, Quantum Success. And by the way, if you want a free copy of this book, go to quantumsuccessbook.com and get a free copy. You have to pay for the shipping charges. But the fifth caller or texter, you know what to do. Okay, so Christy, during the break, you talked about the 7 laws. Let's just really quickly go through these 7 laws so that people understand what are these laws that maybe I don't know about, because we don't know what we don't know, right?
Absolutely.
So let's talk about the first law you said is abundance, the law of abundance.
Well, the first law is the law of attraction. What you send out comes back.
That's right.
I mean, I could go into great detail on all these, but I'm just going to give the very quick, so law of attraction, it's like a boomerang. Yes. What you send out comes back.
Yes.
Law of deliberate creation is the second law. And that means that I'm the one that gets to deliberately create my life based on how I'm choosing to think, feel, behave, all that.
Yes.
So the third law is the law of allowing. If you're feeling restriction, if you're feeling resistance of any kind, you're not allowing. If you're feeling open and open-hearted and feeling good, you're allowing. So the fourth law, and that's the law that I say is the most important, that ties them all together, is the law of sufficiency and abundance. And the key to that is really coming from the doorway into abundance is being satisfied, having everything feel sufficient. So I don't care if you have $5 to your name or millions of dollars, being sufficient with what you have and being grateful, finding the positive aspects of any situation gets you out of lack and into abundance. So it's key, huge. The fifth law is the law of pure potentiality. We can think something, if we have the idea for something, if we feel we want to create something, there is pure potentiality for that thing, person, whatever, yes, to manifest. The sixth law is the law of detachment, that we have to relinquish any type of, again, resistance to it, but release it has to happen. It has to happen this way. It has to be that person. Anytime we feel that we think we know how it needs to happen, we can be attached to the things that we want, but it's the how, the when, the who, all that stuff that we have to release our attachments to.
That's right. And
the seventh law is the law of polarity. Here on planet Earth, in a human body, having a human experience, there's the front of the hand, there's the back of the hand, there's up, there's down, there's left, there's right, there's lack, there's abundance. And it's interesting with this one because someone might think, oh, I'm thinking about money. I want to make more money. I'm focused on making more money, but it's coming from the energy is coming in lack.
Or fear.
It's from that place of lack. That's why they don't create more money. So you might be thinking of money all day long and thinking, oh, I want that. But if your energy is focused in the direction of lack and limitation, it's a polar opposite of abundance, and you cannot attract abundance from a place of lack.
Amen. Amen. And these are the principles of this law of attraction that somehow we don't even embrace. We're not even aware. But it's like buying a house and finding a basement after you buy the house, and it's filled with gold, and it's filled with so many things that we think are going to buy us what we want. But how we use that gold and how we use that abundance is what fuels our life in the future. Like if we come to it, it's like, I don't ever want to lose that gold, and we start hoarding the gold, it just doesn't work. And when you talk about that resistance and that detachment and all those things, these are things that are available to all of us. And all we have to do is take the pulse and how we feel, right?
Absolutely. It's so essential. Knowing these laws, I call them 7 essential laws, because it is like, if you were going to go build a house, you'd have a set of plans before you go build the house. So these are like the set of plans before you go on a road trip. That, the roads that you need to take, there's pre-paving and planning. If you were going to go play baseball, if you were just landed on the planet today, never heard of baseball, you go out to a baseball field, someone hands you the bat and says, go hit the ball, but you don't know what the rules of the game are, and you hit the ball and you go to third base, you're going to be out. So knowing these laws is like knowing the rules of the game. It's like going into your kitchen to go make some chocolate chip cookies, but you have no idea what goes into chocolate chip cookies. So you start putting Tabasco sauce. I mean, it's going to be horrible.
Hey, that sounds really good.
If you like that sort of thing.
And you know what? With that thought, sometimes when you open yourself to, maybe there is a different way to achieve what I want. Maybe a Tabasco sauce chocolate chip cookie might taste better. And so it's like, that's how I got caught up in all of this, is because I started feeling better. I was challenged on the show to go raw vegan for a month. And I said, bring it. But after 3 or 4 days I've always felt good. I thought I felt good. But there was better. And I didn't know that there was better. So what if there is a chocolate chip cookie that has a little habanero sauce in it?
There actually is.
So that detachment to how it has to look, that is so crucial. And so what I'm hearing you say, and what we can do as a pulse for ourselves, is that if we're feeling anxious or we're not happy, then that tells us that we're not in that abundance, that we're not in that
alignment.
Okay, that alignment. So how do we align? Let's talk about, you talked about the 3 questions. Is that the way we align?
That's one. What do you want? Why do you want it? How do you want to feel? Okay. Deciding how you want to feel, and then feeling the feeling. I talk about in Quantum Success, when I was in my career, I was making well over $100,000 a year. I was having great success, but I had no purpose. I felt like, what am I doing all this for? And it's like, yeah, for the money, but okay, so I make great money. That's great. However, I want to feel purposeful. And so I didn't know what my purpose was. I didn't even know what it felt like. So I started bringing in the essence, the feeling of being on purpose. And I started doing my job as if I was on purpose, like almost like imagining that I was purposeful in doing it. And that's exactly when my very first book downloaded through me and started this amazing opening of the career that I now have as a coach and an author and a speaker and a healer and, all the things that I do today.
That's wonderful. And that's wonderful that you went out and you found your purpose. So feel the feeling. So for people that are driving and identifying to that feeling, I'm not even successful. At least you were successful. And they're sitting there going, well, I just want to feel successful. So give us the process and take us to that process really quick, because we're almost down to the minute.
So if you were like, if you don't feel thin because you've always been overweight, or if you've never been successful, feel what it feels like to feel. So it's like literally opening up with the intention. I didn't know what it felt like to be on purpose, but I would allow myself to just sit in that space. Another thing you can do, which is really important, is watch your words. Watch what you say.
Watch your words, because it first starts with a thought and then it comes out as a word. And we're going to continue our conversation with Christy Whitman, to be the fifth caller or texter, 407-373-5959, and win a copy of Quantum Success. And we're going to continue our conversation with Christy when we return worldwide at whenyounneedafriend.com. We'll be right here waiting for you. So take us through, Christy, an exercise while we're off the air.
Okay.
Of wanting, okay, I'm driving now, I'm listening to you, I'm going, that's a bunch of bunk. I'm not even successful. I work my butt off. I do all this for the big man. That
right there. So those thoughts that nothing ever works out for me, I'm never successful. That's right there.
You're right.
Right. That's where you start.
That's right.
That thought of this is BS, right? That thought, what if it's not? What if these universal laws actually are working? Why not? Your best thinking got you here. Why don't you start learning and applying these universal laws? Mm-hmm. If it's true that everything in the universe is abundant and you are here and you are an abundant being, this is what I'm saying to you, mm-hmm. but you're saying, I can never be successful. That's what you're going to continue to create. That thought is literally creating what you're continuing to create. Absolutely. So you're thinking it's a problem with the world, or that you're a problem. It's the thinking problem. It's always a thinking problem. So change the thought. What if I could be really successful? What if I could have the money in my bank account? How would that feel?
But what if you are really successful like you were, but still didn't feel it? I mean, there's so many different levels.
Oh, yes.
So many different levels.
Absolutely.
So get us to that. So now I am successful, but I don't know I don't know what I want in life. I don't know what I want in life.
So what are you focused on? I always say this to people, what are you focused on what you don't want? Or if we're focused on what we don't want, take the opposite of that.
I know.
Right?
I know. Isn't that simple?
Right. Like instead of saying, I don't want to gain weight, it's like, I want to be fit and lean.
Yes.
I don't want to get caught in traffic. I want nice open roads. I want to enjoy my ride to work. I don't want to lose my keys. I want to keep my keys handy. I don't want to go through a divorce. I want to create an even better relationship with my spouse. Focus on what you want instead of what you don't want. It's always, and you hear yourself. If you would just stop and pay attention to that mind chatter, those thoughts that are going on all day, every day, it's not right, or it's not like that. That's not, those thoughts are not the end all be all. We can change a thought. And when you change your thoughts, you change your reality.
Yes, absolutely. Mark Travis, I flew to California because I was having issues like staring into a camera. I couldn't even stare into a camera. And I'm a life coach, for Pete's sake. I can't even do this. And I was like, I remember going through this process and I'm like, I just need to learn how to do this. And someone told me, a good friend of mine told me that there's this guy, Mark Travis. He talks about that we all have this committee in our head. And part of the committee, he has Vic, which is the vicious inner critic. and like, who are the voices in your head? And being able to do that, just isolating the committee can be helpful too.
Yes.
The
absolutely.
Vicious inner critic. Oh, so can you believe we're almost our last segment?
It's amazing how fast it goes.
I want this. I know. I want this to continue. So this is my last dance. I'll be right here.
You can text Lillian McDermott or leave her.
Oh yeah! Look at all these calls.
407-373-5559. Once again, here's Lillian.
Welcome back to the Lillian McDermott Radio Show, where we always grow and learn together. Today's teacher is Christy Whitman. We're having a wonderful conversation. For those of you who want to learn more and go deeper, I encourage you to become a subscriber on my YouTube channel. Go to whenyounneedafriend.com, and there's the button right there. Just click on it. And if you want me to do that for you, well, I don't know if I can do that, but I can subscribe you to my website at whenyounneedafriend.com. If you don't have time to subscribe, just text me your email and I'll do it for you. Just remember to confirm. Today we're giving the fifth caller or texter the book Quantum Success by Christy Whitman. And Christy is a best-selling author, New York Times best-selling author. And this is her newest book. It's a hardcover cover book, and it's the 7 essential laws for thriving, joyful, and prosperous relationships with work and money. You do it really well, dude. So
I'll be Vanna.
Yeah, there you go. Vanna White here. Be the fifth caller or texter 407-373-5959 to win a copy of this book. But if you want a copy of this book, you can go to quantumsuccessbook.com and you just ask for the book and you will get it for free, but you have to pay for the shipping and charges, shipping and handling charges. But the fifth caller or texter will get it totally free. No, they're not going to make you pay for anything. That's 407-373-5959. Do you want this book? Do you want this book? Then do whatever it takes. Do whatever it takes. Okay. So as we're having this conversation with Christy, we went into an exercise off the air. I want to encourage you to go through this, because you know what, Christy, what I get from life and what I get even from myself, and I don't know, let's talk, you're the expert. And I was sharing with you one of my moments where I thought, man, I'm a certified life coach. I should not be going through this. We are human.
Yes.
We are human. And whenever we are in the moment, which we should experience everything in the moment, experience all the feelings, but they need to eventually leave us. Share a moment in your life where, even as the expert and the author and the teacher of this law of attraction, where you said, my goodness, that even for me, I have moments like this. Could you share a time in your life where you felt not enough, even though you are?
Oh yeah, this summer. I mean, here, I'm on the heels of birthing the book called Quantum Success, which I now know as an author. I mean, I've done this rodeo at least 5 times now. Every time I write on a subject, it's like I have to become the master of that subject. Correct. And so it was really interesting this summer. Things in my business really shifted where I didn't feel like I had quantum success. I certainly didn't feel like a success. And a lot of what I always say is that, when we have an intention, like say that we're here and we create an intention, yes, whatever is not of this vibration.
So she's showing us that because people you're on the air.
Okay. So you're one place, you're at the bottom of a mountain and you want to go to the top of a mountain.
There you go.
There's a vibrational difference between where you are and where you want to be. And when you're at the bottom of the mountain looking up at the top, all the fear, all the doubt, everything is coming up to be looked at and revealed. And so that's what was happening this summer for me. And I'm like, I'm a fraud. I've got a book coming out. It's Quantum Success. How can I have a book when I felt like I wasn't a success? And it was all those parts of me that needed in that moment to be evolved, to be released. Yes. The parts of me that for 20-something years I've been looking at and evolving and shifting. And there was, lo and behold, a little bit more that came up. And, I remember a couple of years ago, and this is a perfect example, I was getting a massage. That's something I do for myself to pamper myself. And I was laying there, and all of a sudden I just had this overwhelming feeling of anxiety. And I'm like, what is this anxiety about? So now I know my process, right? It's like, okay, I'm present, I'm listening. What's the anxiety about?
Your body always talks. Your body always talks to you.
Yeah, I'm projecting something into the future. What am I projecting? And it became this enormous fear. And what I know now is that fear always comes from some form of lack. Okay, what am I fearing? And I heard that voice, and we talked about the voices on break. I heard a voice say, you've used it up. And I went, I've used what up? All of your success, as if my success is a pie and I've eaten it all up and there's no more. And so that was just a very part of my psyche that was raised, trained, bounded by lack and limitation. Mm-hmm. And so I just the bigger me had to remind that little part, that voice, that I don't have a pie. I've got a bakery. I can make as many pies as I want. Success cannot be used up. That's not what it's like in an abundant universe. And just feeling that different thought, literally thinking a different thought and then feeling what it was like to have an opposing thought of that limitation expanded me. It shifted things. All the fear went away. All the anxiety went away. I enjoyed the rest of my massage and I haven't had that thought again. Mm-hmm. So it's applying anytime self-awareness, self-realization of this thought is constricting me right now. This thought is making me feel bad. is a better feeling thought that I can think right now that would give me relief, that would make me feel better, that would get me at least in the place of looking at the positive aspects, that would get me into a gratitude place of my life instead of my life sucks. What can I look for in my life that says, wow, I'm grateful?
Grateful, gratitude, forgiveness, all these wonderful things. These are this is, first it's the thought, then it's the feeling, then it's the action. I've said this so many times on the show, but even when we are unaware, when we have a low awareness at that moment, when we were tired, maybe we just have been stressed, maybe we're trying to avoid a situation, it just gets us out of that alignment.
Yes.
And so even the experts have to go through that check-off process. And so your check-off process, so let's recap your check-off process to kind of get back into alignment.
So if I look at my life and there's some area of my life that's not going the way I want it to, which I call contrast, I don't go, oh, poor me, nothing ever works out for me, right? I know better now, blah, 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 right? Yeah. So I look at that situation going, okay, what do I have to believe? What do I have to be thinking in order to create that situation? Because I know I'm a co-creator of that situation. It's my life, right? So I had to do something. I'm a creator of my own life experience. So what do I have to think, believe? What am I saying? What am I thinking? Like, if just in the subject of money, for example, I say this with clients all the time. Everything in our outer reality is a direct reflection of what's going on inside us. Oh, yeah. And all of our relationships, whether it's our relationship with money, career, another person, our weight, doesn't matter what it is, our health, all that relationship first starts inside. Everything is created twice, first inside of us, and then in our reality. So the great thing is, if you can look at a situation, a contrasting experience in your life, and ask yourself, what do I believe about this? Then it gives you an indication of what you need to change, what thoughts, what beliefs. Because if you think, well, I don't have enough money and I don't have what it takes, there's no possibility. That example I gave before, I've used up all my success and there's no more success for me.
Yeah.
That doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel empowering. And so we have to be able to know that those thoughts are not real. They're just thoughts.
Yes.
And they go on all day, every day. And if we believe them, it's crazy. It's crazy making.
Yes, absolutely. And that is where this is where we get to shift. We shift into what we want as opposed to what we don't want, which is so easy for us to focus on what we don't want because realism is explained as what could go wrong. But when we shift it as, well, what could go right? How can we shift that? What could go right? That's the question I always ask. And whenever we find ourselves in that lack or that fear, then we know that's not a place where we want to be. So I'm so grateful to you, Christy, that you have been able to take your journey and your lessons and even your moments of weakness where you as an expert shouldn't have. That's a limiting belief that gets us in so much trouble, isn't it?
Yes.
When somebody says, oh, you've got it all figured out. Yeah, I do. No, we're constantly learning and growing. Just like I don't breathe once and say, oh, I'm done breathing. I'm done.
Exactly.
So what is advice that you could give to someone that is at the beginning of this new thought process so that they can make it to that next experience of chaos?
Yes. So the first thing I would say is watch your words. Watch what you say. For example, if you're saying, I can't afford something, that is such a phrase that we hear all the time. I know I heard it probably 10 times a day when I was growing up. We can't afford it, can't afford it, can't afford it. That is one of the worst things that you can say because it's an affirmation. You're affirming what you don't want.
So we can afford it. And Christy, we're going to continue talking off the air. But thank you so much for being on the show. And to you, my listening friend, my viewing friends, please know that you are a co-creator. I love that. And so do whatever it takes to achieve what you want. This is Lillian McDermott wishing you love, peace, joy, and unexpected abundance. Make it the best day ever. Good job, Christy. Okay, I am so sorry. We were at 2 minutes and then I saw music had started. So I asked you a question what I thought had 2 minutes.
No worries.
But we ended up having 1. So continue that advice.
Absolutely. So instead of saying I can't afford, say that's not a financial, priority for me right now. A perfect example. My kids the other day said to me, Mom, could you buy a Bugatti? Which is like one of the most expensive cars out there. They're like 2-point-something million and could go higher. And I said, yeah, I could buy a Bugatti, but I'd have to sell the house. You guys couldn't go to your private school anymore. We probably wouldn't be able to eat. All 4 of us would probably have to live in the Bugatti, but I could afford that. So the Bugatti for me right now is not a financial priority. Yeah. Right. So I never say, no, I can't afford that. Yes. Because that's what I'm putting out. And I certainly don't want to get that in my kid's head. So when you hear yourself say, I can't afford, or anytime you hear your word say can't, that's an indication you're limiting yourself, and there's a better way to say it. So that's not a financial priority for me right now.
That's right. That's right. There's so many different ways. And like a tip to, because those words are going to happen even for people that are experts. We have these thoughts that are negative. I remember meeting Louise Hay for the first time. My friend Heather Dane introduced me to Louise, and Heather was Louise's health coach for many, many years, and friend. And Heather was about to give a talk. And Louise has been like my superhero. From the moment I read her first book, and it was before the show, before I knew became a life coach, before all this stuff. And I always saw her as, if she can write a book at 50, I can do all these things, or maybe start a company at 60, all these wonderful things. And I wanted to tell her how much I appreciated her. Mm. And so I wanted to, because, when you, these wonderful people, they have their time where they're open. Yes. And they have their time where they protect themselves. Right. Yes. So I could see that Louise was far away. And I saw Heather. Heather came, gave me a hug, and Louise started coming towards her. And she said, "This is Lily. She's the one I was on her in her show." And Louise said, she said, "Oh, hello," and she was nice, and I said, "Well, thank you, Louise, for this, for you've changed my life. You have helped so many, as you've done so many others. Thank you so much for that." And she said, "Thank you." And that was a thank you that I knew we're done.
Yeah.
We're done.
Yeah.
So I turned to Heather and I said, "Heather, I can't wait to hear your talk." Now I know can't is not part of my vocabulary. And so Louise says to me, "You look forward to it, my dear."
Exactly.
And I went, "Excuse me?" I said, "Excuse me?" And she said, "You look forward to it." And then all of a sudden I went through like, oh my gosh, she is teaching me right now. I have just been taught a personal lesson from Louise Hay. And inside of me, if she could have seen, the inside was like, I get it. And the outside was, absolutely right. Thank you so much for that. Yes. I look forward to it.
Totally.
Even that tiny little, I can't wait. From that moment, again, I have said, I look forward to everything. Everything I look forward to.
Lillian, I created a 30-day system where it's like literally a minute or 2 a day, where I say a word or a phrase to get rid of and what to say instead. And that's one of the days is stop saying, I can't, I can't wait.
Can't wait. Yes.
And I look forward instead. And it's, yes. You all can go to watchyourwords.com to get into that series.
You have a lot of .coms.
I do. I am a .com. I got .com. But that is, it's an amazing process, because every day I give like one of those examples, and I hear that all the time. Oh, I can't wait. And it's like, it's just such a slight shift in energy, but it's huge. It's huge. It makes such a big difference.
I look forward to everything. And that was a moment. And, prior to that moment, I mean, I knew about can't. I know about don't. The moment you say those things, the brain doesn't register whatever is after. It just registers. It doesn't register don't. It doesn't register. It just registers what that is. Wait. I don't want to be sick. Sick is registered. I don't, and I know that, but at that moment, I just I turned to Heather and I said that, but it's a teachable, these wonderful teachable moments. I could have said, "Oh my God, I can't believe she's blah, blah, blah." No, I was just so thrilled to learn something new from her.
Yeah.
And
something
that
you'll
little shift.
remember forever. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And I know
what a moment.
It was, it still is, because whenever I hear can't, and whenever I hear, I don't want to this, or I want, this. So that shift of what do I want?
Yes.
Is crucial. And
Huge.
you don't even understand it. So thank you so much, Christy, for sharing your wisdom and the lessons that you've learned. I know that your bakery is gluten-free, dairy-free, sugar-free, oil-free.
Calorie-free.
Calorie-free. It's all the free stuff. And so thank you so much for everything that you're doing to change the world.
Thank you so much, Lillian. I appreciate having this time together.
Yes. And to you, my viewing friends, thank you so much for watching. I look forward to seeing you next time.